scare people or be yes. So that's I think the scariest part, which not gonna happen in this film, or maybe yes, never.
JC.
It's funny. We have this creature. I don't know if you have this one in your country. We have this duende. It's like 8 inches tall, and they have different personalities. They're dark, and they said they're kind, and they're not, and it's different. And they're like this. A dwarf. It's like it's. Yeah. Oh, what do you call that? So, for me, that's scary because you don't know where they are always, and they live in a tree, and that's where you start in province too. So yeah, that's my actually favorite creature here in mythology. Do you have one?
No, actually, I don't know about creatures.
No creatures in Belgium.
No, not really.
Chocolate.
There are a lot of creatures, but still alive in Belgium. No, what we have is actually, in the Middle Ages there was a little, I forgot the name, I should have looked it up when I would have known this question would come. It is a little creature, and it's a devilish creature, and it comes in the night, it's from the Middle Ages, and it comes in the night to impregnate women, or young women, or girls even, in the night. So it was actually some kind of invented, because sometimes in the Middle Ages when a girl or a young woman got pregnant, she would have she could have been burned as a witch. So then she could say, "Oh, but I'm so sorry, but the creature came this night, so it's not my fault." That's actually a creature where a film I made a few years ago in Holland is actually based upon. But I don't know really the name of the creature anymore. So it sits on. There are paintings of the little devilish person sitting on a woman sleeping at night. It's a famous painting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's the only thing I can think of now.
I think Bradley just got 5 movies lined up already today.
Getting the ideas rolling from all of these creatures. And they all seem to get women pregnant so far.
I think the most horrifying creatures are all present. I mean, like I think the most horrifying, I don't want to say it. I really don't want to say it. The most horrifying creatures in mythology are politicians.
Okay, yeah. They're not even my turn? Dami yung cue, one
Parang on cue? On cue ako? No, I mean, here the mythological creature would be, for me, the scariest is Manananggal. It's the same as school. They split the woman splits her body, right? Flies over the houses, gets babies, eats them, and then gets babies and eats them. And the way to like kill them is you put salt
on their lower body.
on the body that they left, on the lower body that's left.
So they can't go back.
They can't go back. They'll melt, right? There.
In Australia, what are
Are there? I'm not that familiar with indigenous Australian creatures. I'm sure there are some in the outback. I don't. The Babadook was pretty scary. the Babadook monster. Babadook.
First of all, I don't know if I want to stay. If there's this woman flying.
Half a woman flying.
I'm going to
It's still happening now in the Philippines, you know.
It's still happening. There's this Aboriginal myth in Australia about this creature that would follow children into the forest, and their footsteps, through the dirt, so they know how to come back out. It would follow the children, and with its tail, wipe away the footsteps, so the children will get lost in the forest, and then they'd eat them. So that's one myth. Not as bad as the woman flying out.
Yeah, I think that's pretty scary. Any more questions from our friends from the press?
Question.
Okay.
For Bradley, I have 2 questions. The first one, why do you like making horror movies? I've noticed most of the films you've made are in the genre of like horror, mystery.
My first film is about Pepe Smith trying to make.
But I know there's another, yeah, I think post by Bianca
Yeah.
about, I don't know, maybe it's not released yet or something.
I don't know.
I think it's a short or something.
What's maybe most important for us telling the story is really the story itself. A genre or a specific genre is just a beautiful way to kind of mold your story that you want to tell into another way to access the audience. But in terms of why, I'm not so sure why we've been doing a lot of horror films. It's just 2018 seems to be the 4 different horror productions for Epic Media. So it's not it's not intentional. It's just coincidental that this year everything came to life, and of course we're grateful. But we're not 100% horror. Yeah, we do love yes too.
My other question is, I'm just a bit curious about the names because some characters like she's Angeli, but you have Ron is also Ron. You have JC. Is there anything like plot driven about the name?
No, I thought JC was well, I'm a very lazy writer. So Bron has a very nice sounding name, so I thought it would be a nice name. Nicholas, well, Don sounded nicer for his. It was a bit difficult to. I mean, the names. I don't know. It's just one of the things. I look at the person and I think, maybe this is more for this person or that's more for this person. And JC did fit the role of JC, and his name did sound like JC. I don't think too much about it, but I like Bron's name a lot.
And I like my name as well. Very simple.
First, Motel Acacia is not just a horror movie. It's a horror movie, but there's some social relevance to it, right? I think like what Jan was telling me earlier, it's about like Motel Acacia is actually a safe house, and that's your ticket to get entry to the border. You get a black card as opposed to a green card. So it's part of the plot of the story. So it has some social relevance in it as well. So any more questions for Yes.
Yes. I'm Bernard Santos of My Movie World. First question is to Bradley. What makes you decide to do this horror film? What is the inspiration of doing this?
Besides maybe the mythological part about the film or the horror elements of the film, was really about the themes that we wanted to talk about and the present state of the world that we're living in, how we've become desensitized to killing, how we've got this big immigration issue sweeping across the world, and we might think that okay, we're not in a first world country where we are experiencing an influx of immigration, but our countrymen are in those countries and they are experiencing a lot of horrifying things. There's a lot of things that we choose to ignore in Southeast Asia because we think we are separated from the rest of the world. But it's present, it's here, and the people are real. Like I said early on, the horror element, the horror genre, and the way of storytelling is just mediums to say what we really want to say and to invoke questions, to the people watching. So maybe that's.
Is this all Filipino production staff crew or a mixture of foreigners and Filipino?
In terms of the producers, we have international co-producers as well, international executive producers like we were mentioning from different countries, Slovenia, Thailand, Singapore, of course, Mandarin Vision in Thai, from Taiwan, who are here today.
Welcome.
Thank you for supporting us. Thank you so much. But this is in my opinion, this is a true essence of a co-production. Many countries coming together, many people coming together from all around the world to try and tell a story together.
Yeah, but are there Filipinos part of the staff, like
Yes.
cinematographers?
Yes. So our cinematographer is Larry Manda. Fantastic Larry Manda. He's a longtime collaborator of films that maybe like Lafayette's kind of films. And he also shot our first film, Singing Graveyards. We have production designers Benjamin Padero and Carlo Tabihe. They have been nominated for the Asian Film Awards for Luna, Hannibal Luna, I think a couple of years ago. Um, yeah, it's a big crew. Yeah, but everyone, I think everyone on set, on production is Filipino. Yes.
Yeah, and for Miss Agot and Mr. JC, how was it? How was the working experience with now that you're not only working with Filipinos but also with international staff or partners?
It's a learning experience. When we did the reading, normally you just read and then you say your lines. But here, we really, parang hinihimay, we kind of dissect the lines and the way they have a different take on certain uh, dialogue. So that's good learning experience for us because it's coming from different cultures, so it's very cultural also. So it's a nice way of coming together also and understanding. It gives you a different understanding of the script and the story and the characters also.
I'm living the dream because it's like theater process for me, and I came from the theater before. So script analysis, the table work, and getting to know all the characters and their own process. I'm learning a lot of things, and now we get deeper by the script, and it's amazing. It's like theater process. We have a theater actor here, and I'm with great actors here. My God. Have you googled their names and their IMDb's? So far it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling that I'm working with their own process and their capabilities, seeing that in front of me. It's grateful, living the dream.
Yeah, I was also told earlier that it takes about 2 hours to discuss one sequence. That's how in-depth they go. I just want to ask a personal question to Talia, to Talia and Will. Is this your first project together? Or how many projects have you done together as husband and wife?
As partners.
As partners, I mean.
We have done something else together, but we weren't. I was married to someone else.
This is the first one where we have worked on something together. But this is the first one where we actually play a couple. And
What's that like?
it's very true to life. Funnily enough, in this film, I probably love Kathy more than Kathy loves James. I'm not sure if that's the same in real life. But yeah, no, this is the first time. It's really exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, last question. Follow up. Since the title of the film is Motel Acacia, do you have any like a creepy or horror experience inside a motel or a hotel? For everyone.
Let's start with. Have you been in a motel and had a very scary experience? Does it have to be ghostly or supernatural? Just scared in a motel.
Actually, I mentioned before, I used to be the trainer of Miss Thailand for years. That's not the scary part, but anyhow. So we would take the contestants to maybe do a VTR in a resort outside Bangkok. So we go to the place in a province called Kanchanaburi, which is like a place where they have this bridge of River Kwai, a lot of people die there. So every night the girl get haunted, every night. And it's a big thing because the press were there and they were like kind of like, please don't let anybody know that the hotel has some issue with ghosts. And I was kind of like, maybe they train too much, maybe we give them too much hard work during the rehearsal. And then one night, I was sleeping, and as a Buddhist, we always carry our charm. So I always, like, when I'm in a strange place, I always wear my charm with me when I sleep. But I woke up one morning, it wasn't on my neck. So it's like, when did I take that off? Am I really like that drunk. I didn't drink anything, you know. But anyhow, then the next night, I keep hearing noises, but not from this the same floor. It's upstairs. So it's like, well, what happened? You know why? You know, and who's up there? So I checked with the hotel. Said nobody up on the on the top floor. You know, so that's the feeling that when you're in a strange place and then all the noises, all the stuff that you hear, you start to kind of wonder, who else had checked in before me and never checked out?
We got one more film to do.
Welcome to Motel. Acacia. Horrifying experience. Staying in the same hotel with these two. Yeah, JC will agree. Jokes aside, I think the closest I have was 2 years ago, no, last year when I was shooting Second Slave in Indonesia. And on the first night when we moved into the hotel, and around 1 o'clock, then the whole room shaken. And the bed was literally like this. And it was my first time. And I was like, oh my God, we're doing horror. And that was the first experience. I was like, oh my God, Indonesia could be this spooky. And we were shooting 4 hours away from Jakarta. It's quite far away. And then 2 minutes later, like someone ran out, it's earthquake, it's earthquake. So that was the closest, but because coming from Malaysia, we don't have earthquake. The feeling of it, I think I could understand whenever people face this kind of situation. Luckily, it was this an earthquake, and that was the first earthquake in my life. That was the closest.
Welcome to Indonesia. All earthquakes scares the shit out of you. No, I never really had an experience.
Bed bugs?
Bed bugs. I don't, but I don't know tonight after hearing all this, lady half body up with all the intestines and all that.
Thailand.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was,
Where is this? Somewhere in the Philippines. I probably forgot the province. So I was doing mall shows before. And then one night, I was reading my comic books, and then a child ran outside. So I saw a child outside, and it was a balcony. Running outside my balcony, there was a child, and then so I tried to ignore it. He's not even there. I didn't see it, and then so I went back to the bed and then read again. And suddenly there's a woman running now outside the balcony. And then that's it. I called, can I change room? Yeah, that is the scariest. Someone in front of your balcony.
Imagine. There's not really something superstition-wise or with spirits, and it was not in a hotel. Maybe I shouldn't tell it. But we were shooting in the jungle in Latin America, and there were not really hotels there. But we landed with a little airplane in a little city in the jungle, and I looked it up, the little city where we should stay the first night. And I saw on the internet images of that little city a few years ago, and there was a shootout between FARC, which is the terrorist organization who hides in the jungle, and the government's army, and a lot of people died. And I asked the director, how is it now, the situation? He said, oh no problem now. They're sitting around the table, they're negotiating about peace now. I said, okay. And we landed in a little city, and then we went with army trucks into the jungle, and we stayed at an army camp. And I thought, okay, this peace between FARC and the soldiers. And I was the first night in the camp, and there was a flat screen with CNN, and it was on the news that 60 kilometers further than where we were, there was again a shootout between FARC and an army camp, and a lot of people died. And that night was quite a horrifying night because I knew at that moment, okay, so far the peace between FARC and the soldiers, and I was the only European there in the army camp, and FARC lives from kidnappings. So that night I thought, okay, let's see how it goes, go with the flow. So it was not about spirits, but
Really
nothing
scary
happened.
stuff.
So it was
Yeah,
scary. Yeah. Well, that's
We'd like to acknowledge some of the bloggers that just came in. Again, if you're going to use the hashtag today, it's welcome to Motel Acacia. Brad.
I've never experienced anything until I arrived in the Philippines.
No
Yeah.
way.
So for 23 years of my life before in Malaysia, like nothing ever. And then when I came to the Philippines for the first time after meeting Bianca, it was immediately. Yeah.
That was your
Absolutely. And I remember this is pretty nearby. This is somewhere in Pasig in our old apartment. It's definitely not the alcohol because I only had one drink. I remember that night because she was blaming me on the alcohol, but it's not. I was in bed and then I felt something brush against my feet, like a little feather or something like that, a little feather. And then I was like, whatever, it happened again. And then when I opened my eyes, the left side of my view was normal, and everything on the right was sepia, like brown. And I started looking, and then I saw someone standing next to the bed, just looking at me angrily. And he had no face. I knew it was a guy and he had really long hair. And I said, like, I think there's something in the room. And Bianca said, no, there's nothing there. I'm convinced there's someone looking at me right now. And she said, I don't see anyone. And immediately I was like, okay, I need to pee.
Is it true that when you see a ghost, you never see their feet?
I don't know. I only remember his non-existent face.
A child that was randomly JC with walang feet.
I don't know, but I think the reason why I knew it was real was when the moment I walked out from the apartment, there was a different feeling. Like from a heavy feeling, it became like a normal feeling, like right now. But when in that apartment, it felt very heavy, like the air was extremely dense. So I was like, huh, okay. First experience. And there was another situation.
They said that you know it's a ghost if you don't see the feet. Anyway.
Yeah, my life is boring now. No events.
Very
Uneventful.
Yeah.
Just, scary politics.
I'm the same. I'm sorry I don't have an experience to share.
Mine's like Bront. Last time I was in Manila, I was staying in Quezon City. Where was I staying? Torre Venetia. And
Pretty close by.
it's close by, and we were staying on the 30th floor. And we were in our room, and we noticed the doors starting to sway back and forth. And we didn't realize that an earthquake had hit, and so we quickly ran down 30 flights of stairs. Me and you, Brad. That was mine.
Okay. So, do we have any more questions from our blogger friends and our... Yes.
To Bradley, I'm Rami from beatsofrocks.com and tvseriesgrace.com. So we all know that the Philippines is rich in legends, supernatural, and frightening creatures. So why do you choose Capre over the other more frightening creatures?
What was it about the Capra that was so
Yes.
fascinating to you?
Maybe it wasn't specifically the Capre at that moment because Bianca, our producer, is also from Cebu. She's from a little province called Sambuan, and she was telling me stories that of her cousin who would they have a little waterfall in the forest in Sambuan, and they will all go there as kids growing up to the waterfall. And as they started growing older, there was one incident where one cousin from Manila went to Sambuan. It's probably his first time there. He went into the forest and never came out. He never came out for a day. And when they found him again, like he was like, he said, no, I just followed the lady to the house and I came back out immediately. But it was almost a day had passed, yeah. And from there, we were talking about, how about the wood, and like, was it something to do with him touching something in the house? Was it the wood? And then the wood led to the tree, and the tree was the gape, and the gape was like, okay, this is it. So it was just a strange natural flow from mythology to mythology. And I know in the Philippines we have our preconceived ideas of what the gape is, what he does, what he probably looks like, from the various media and films and TV series. But I guess in this film, it's us reimagining what the creatures are, what the creatures could be, and maybe at the end of the day, at the end of the film, maybe it's not really a gape anymore. Maybe it's something we don't know about it.
Okay. And aside from Capre, do we also expect special appearance or cameo roles of other creatures like Chana? Because we talk about woman impregnating by Capre, so are we expect a cameo role of like Chanaks or white ladies? Or even duendes aside from Capre?
We got a couple of creatures in the film.
Yeah.
But all drawn from the imagination of our production designers. So I think they are creating their own original monsters.
Of course, all throughout we are seeing the stills from the movie. It's beautifully put.
Yes. And for my last question, there are lots of horror films from around the world. So I'm also a lover of horror films, like from the Philippines, Korea, Japan. And what do you think would be the edge of these horror films against the other horror films that we need to know? Especially nowadays, horror films are very popular from different countries. So what will be the edge against this film over the others?
This is a difficult question to answer. I mean, that's more of a market and producing kind of question. But but for me, I think at the end of the day, as long as your story is great and your effects are crazy, I think it will translate across cultures and borders and markets. Because at the end of the day, everyone is afraid no matter where in the world. So as long as the acting is good, the story is good, and the effects are crazy, I think that will be the key.
Thank you, Bradley. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I have a question. So I was looking at the photos of like the stills so far, and like the set looks really amazing. Like, can you tell us like how it was constructed? Because it looks really real, and it's like in a studio in Makati, yeah.
I mean, it's designed by Benjamin Padero and Carlo Tabihe, and this is probably one of their most ambitious works. Of course, you have to credit his team of builders as well on set, right? But his inspiration and design is very brutalist kind of architecture. We're pushing the idea that the motel is not what it seems, it's underground. So what could we create underground? What could we build in a sense that it was once a freaky, crazy kind of motel and now decommissioned and then now used for a very horrible purpose by the current the fictional government of this country. So in terms of they talk about, we have two studios. One studio took only 3 weeks to build. The second one we are finishing today, and those guys work incredibly fast and incredibly well. I think they only took 10 days to build it. We got many rooms in this motel, and every room has a specific character, a specific design, and a specific feeling and intention created by Benjamin in according with the script. So all credit to them and the team.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a